This game is rated EC for early childhood because you don't think your kid is advanced enough to play the game and can't handle the concept of killing evil monsters. This game is rated E for everyone, so your kid can be laughed at school for being uncool because they're stuck playing a low-violent video game made for babies. This game is rated T for teen because you want to disappoint your kid at their birthday without being obvious. You want to allow them to have the cooler, bloodier game that every other kid is playing right now. This game is rated M for mature. This is the only game that will make your kid look cool in front of their friends, and they'll be the most badass kid on the block. This game is rated AO for adults only. The mythical rating you'll never see in stores because they don't have the balls to sell them, and giving one to your kid will make them a legend.
What's up, everyone? This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 182 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast. GG! Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Those voices, of course, starting to my somewhere in the back, Mr. David Santos, aka Dream Twister. What is up, brother?
I'm dying. Dude, I'm dying. I had like 4 hot dogs and I'm dying now.
4 hot dogs, and his stomach was not feeling well prior to the hot dogs.
Well, they're
this,
hot
ladies
dogs,
and gentlemen, this, ladies and gentlemen, is what they call the perfect storm.
Yeah. I did it to myself. You call a masochist, but sure.
Yeah, exactly.
No, dude, they're hot dogs though.
At some point, you're gonna hear headsets drop, and he's gonna have to run off or something. Yeah. So, that's what it is, guys.
Warning: it can happen at any moment. If we suddenly jumped on the brake, now you know why.
I know you hear that crazy music that happens when they have to cut a show. We'll be right back.
Please stand by.
Please stand by.
Stand by.
That other voice, of course, is Mr. Gilberto, aka Chaos Reaper. What is up, sir?
What's up, people? Just, was playing some Mortal Kombat 11.
Yes,
it might have handed to me by the computer.
This is what happens when you go up the difficulty scale on that crazy-ass game. Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If this is your first time listening, please first go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. It takes you right to our Facebook group. And please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do, guys, first is we go into what we've been up to, move on into various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic is the ESRB useless. No, wait, I forgot the title now, guys.
I don't think that's what it was. Are they broken beyond repair?
Sorry, guys. Is the ESRB still effective? Oh, sorry.
Close
I know. Yeah, apples, oranges, right? Yeah. We're still fruit. Anyway, so basically, what we're calling into question is, we know where the rating system is. We know it's there. Is it actually doing anything? Is it actually deterring anyone from, exposing people who or young players, to games that they probably shouldn't be playing? So tune in a little later on the show as we dig deep into that. Before we get into what we have been up to, I did have some follow-up items from last week. Specifically, we were talking about the Hong Kong issue with BlizzCon and everything, China and all that good stuff, right? I did want to kind of jump back on there because there was some interesting new tidbits that occurred. Another group of players was banned for 6 months for also putting up a Hong Kong support during a Hearthstone, was it?
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was another 3 players. I'm trying to get the damn thing now. I had it all ready to go, guys. This is how useless this news can be.
Please stand by. Ding, 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 ding. I'll be right back.
That said, yes, 3 players, they basically held up a sign, something on the lines, Free Hong Kong. They, too, were banned for 6 months. obviously this is escalating. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen because BlizzCon, guys, is still coming.
Oh my god!
This
would be fun. You guys know that Nintendo had an event until very recently. Their Nintendo Twitter account was tweeting about, hey, come see us. We're gonna have a Overwatch event because Overwatch is releasing on the Switch, and the first 150 people, they're gonna get to meet the voice actors and that like an event for Overwatch. And I believe it was I think it was the week last week, right as we were going to go into podcast. They broke down the news of, we regret to inform you that the event planned for Overwatch was canceled by Blizzard. Or I'm paraphrasing, but the fact was that they mentioned Blizzard canceled this event, which is mind blowing in the sense of to me, in the sense that you typically don't see companies throwing their partners under the bus. They try to paint it in some other fashion, but in this case, it was like, nope, it had nothing to do with us. It was Blizzard canceled it. So sorry, guys.
I can't say I blame them. I mean, realistically, you kind of just not want to be connected with that. And at the same time, this was a big Nintendo event because it's a Nintendo launch. You know what I mean? So clearly, Nintendo's like, well, these guys just screwed us. Well, screw them. You know what I mean? It was just, hey, this was them. You got a problem with it? You already know you guys already know the issue. So
shoot! So you think this was Nintendo? Because I thought it was just Blizzard because, of course, they were already planning on some protests, just like they're planning protests for BlizzCon.
Yes. Absolutely.
So you think this was Nintendo's actually going like, nope, we don't want to have anything to do with this right now. This issue is too hot.
No, what I'm saying is Nintendo, I'm sure would have still gone through with it because I don't think they would have cared about anything as far as the protests or something like that. Because I still think they would probably have been peaceful. However, I do think that the reason why Nintendo kind of passed the buck, saying, "Guys, who freaking canceled it? It wasn't us." Yeah. That's why they were openly kind of throwing them on the bus because it's like, no, this was an event to showcase a new game, a new multiplayer game that's a very popular multiplayer coming to the Switch that should help move Switch units. And if I can cancel the event, I would have been the same. Like, yeah, no, these guys cancel. You want to blame somebody, blame them.
Blame them, yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's hard. It doesn't seem to have to be stopping anytime soon. There's a lot of things happening with China, though, right? Because there's like some trouble with the NBA as well.
There is. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. People have been protesting on there, and I think they own like a huge stake in the Houston Rockets. So NBA is just big out there in China, but they own a huge stake in the Houston Rockets, and people have tried to do it there. And I think I remember correctly because there was a mention of it that they ended up pulling all merchandise for the Houston Rockets.
Wow!
So you couldn't even get merchandise, and that's
Do you know how much it costs to go to an NBA game in China?
No, I do not.
A coworker told me today, he is Chinese, told me that for the worst seats, like $1,000 American.
Jesus.
For sports side seats, I think this was when LeBron played at some point or another, it was $15,000.
That's wow.
Insane. And they were getting packed. They were selling it because
that's because there's money there.
Buying it.
So what you're saying? Loads of money, yeah.
What you're saying is that you have to be a crazy rich Asian.
Well said, sir.
Yeah, I'm hearing. That's really good.
Don't leave me hanging, sir.
I'm sorry. You're on the. You know what? Another one. Right here. There you go. That was good. I like that. One thing I wanted to say was that I found kind of hysterical was the fact that, and I don't remember if we mentioned this before, that they were using the character, Mei from Overwatch. They're using her as basically a symbol. The protesters are using her as a symbol of free Hong Kong. I believe with the agenda being to get the character and maybe even the game banned from China, because you guys know that they I believe, I don't know the name of the people over there. I'm sorry for not being educated on that, but there is a thing with the character of Winnie the Pooh, where the character Winnie the Pooh
that came out of nowhere.
That character is banned from China. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, so many things are banned from China. Go ahead.
But the character, let me see. Winnie the Pooh, China. Why China banned? It's because hold on, I'm trying to remember because I want to get this right. There were references to Xi Jinping. I'm sorry. No, sorry, that's not the thing. Talk among yourselves. I'm gonna find out there.
I found funny internet references to China's top leaders, essentially. Xi Jinping and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe endured one of the most awkward handshakes, and then they did memes with Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore. Basically, it's a meme out there. You'll see the Xi Jinping from China and Japan's Prime Minister. They're shaking hands.
Dude, it's right here.
I know. Yes, I'm saying. And then they have next to it a shot of Winnie the Pooh shaking the hand of Eeyore, and obviously that's the comparison.
I never knew the reason for the comparison, and now looking at it, it's like, oh, okay, I totally get it now. This thing is uncanny. I want to send it. I want to send it to you.
Send it so you can see it. But yeah, so it's that. There's no Facebook, there's no Twitter, and all that stuff is banned in China. You can't use any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, last you see it, right?
You can see it, right? So because of that meme, that character Winnie the Pooh, you can't have references to Winnie the Pooh in Japan at all. So now imagine something like that if people start using the character of May as a symbol of the liberation of free Hong Kong and whatever. That could have some serious repercussion for Overwatch.
I don't think that's gonna happen though. It's different. It's different situations.
What do you mean?
Well, they use Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore as representations for actual important people. They were basically mocking them.
Yeah. But if you have someone out there dressed as May, or if somebody brings in images of May. Supporting Free Hong Kong, they can tie those two together. It's the problem with how the authoritative nature of that nation is. They'll use every little thing and say, nope, we don't want that. Nope, we don't. And they get this immediately banned. Like, nope, we don't want. Like I said, the Houston Rockets had one thing, and they pulled all the freaking stuff from the store. You couldn't buy Houston Rocket nothing. Guess what the Houston Rockets were losing? Money. Because they couldn't sell merchandise. All because of something simple. So yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, I mean? That's how insane this is. This is why I'm ready to get a Free Hong Kong shirt and wear that myself. I'm like, I don't want Hong Kong to have to endure this from mainland China either.
I'm going to have to ask you not to wear while we're transmitting in GG. Because I don't want us to be banned from China. Obviously, China is a huge consumer of GG. I get the request to join the group all the time. That's happening. You see them too.
Dream, we kind of said really loudly on the last podcast, Free Hong Kong.
Oh, damn it.
That's too late.
It's true now. No.
All sponsorship.
No,
yeah.
Listen.
I'm sorry. It's a little late.
I want to apologize on behalf of GG Media to say that the views expressed of my two cohorts here does not represent the values of GG the Monster Podcast, and we will strongly defend the motherland.
Oh my God!
Wow!
Long live China!
Here's the crazy part. this is how you know. Like a lot of people are like, well, maybe it's not because of whatever and all this. This is how you know that things are, So the person who is set to play Mulan, I think, in the Disney live action.
Oh, the live action.
She actually has gone on record in support of the Chinese government, right? And Disney didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Disney didn't pull whatever. It's just like, so what does that say? It's like, well, yeah, when you're on the other end of it, yeah, we'll let that fly. China, the Chinese government doesn't want anyone talking smack about. And like I said, this is a perfect example. That meme of Winnie the Pooh is like, this is talking smack of a leader of China. It's banned. It's gone. So it's crazy, is what it is.
Well,
So
it goes to show how also America's companies are all about defending your freedom, your expressions, and all that, until their money is
messed with.
Yeah, exactly. At that moment, all morals go to shit.
Yeah, freedom. We don't like freedom.
No. They'll be like, hail China or whatever.
Kind of like how South Park apologized, saying that they love money more than freedom and democracy.
That was the best unapologetic apology.
That was so good, so good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's enough with BlizzCon and the garbage truck on fire that show is probably going to be. Because according to the people who are doing the protest is full steam ahead, guys. So I actually may tune in to this year's BlizzCon because I'm just too curious to see what the hell's going to happen.
I'm protesting Diablo 4. No, Diablo Immortal.
How do you?
Whatever they're calling it.
Oh, no worries. All right, so let's start the show here with what we have been up to. I'm going to throw it over to Mr. David Santos. What you been up to?
So I watched It Follows. Oh no, wait a minute. That was this day last year. Actually,
I was gonna say you watched
How
what?
awesome is that movie? Oh wait, you suck.
Yeah. Oh wait, that movie's shit. I forgot.
Oh my god.
I forgot how shit that movie was. Of all the goodness that you have recommended to me, It Follows was a fail. Sorry. No. I have been playing. Actually, I've just been playing Borderlands 3. I already spoke a little bit about it on the last podcast. I think I still love like some of the elements of that games. I think I said last podcast is the fact that I'm playing a video game as video game. A video game that doesn't feel like it's trying to to jip me for for microtransactions or loot boxings or anything. Or
all of your money.
It feels it feels like I just paid once for it. Yeah, exactly. It feels like a very for good and bad. It feels like a very 2012 game. You guys have said that. Yeah, no, it doesn't. The gameplay is outdated. First of all, I want to dispel that myth because yes, Borderlands 2, it's a game of its time. Borderlands 3 already has the things that I would consider being
mainstream
of a fairly modern shooter. Nowadays, and like I was mentioning on the other on last episode, the variety of the weapons or the guns, actually, they're all guns. They're not different type of weapons themselves, but the variety of the guns is it's like the dream. I know they're not doing the 1 million guns, or because I don't think they have. I always thought that Borderlands 1 did the guns just randomly, just like procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm.
If they're still doing it that way on this one, I don't know, but if they're still doing them, that way, it's impressive because you get some really cool ass, weaponry that they almost feels like they took the time to craft them. Like in Destiny, most of the weapons are pretty, especially the legendaries and the good. They're crafted. You know, they're meant to look a certain way, and they're made to make you they're made to make you stand out. You know, so some of that is what I've seen in Borderlands, except that you could tell certain things about the weapons are probably still procedurally generated, but it's done so well that it doesn't bother me. You know, it doesn't feel like
the machine of the procedurally generated does it
well.
Yeah, creates them well. Okay.
Yeah, it creates some really cool weapons, and the thing that I like about them also is that if they feel like they have like most of the weapons, I'm not gonna say all of them, but most of the weapons feels like they have a personality, to them. And I don't mean like the one that I was telling you about, the spirit of Handsome Jack in it, but I'm telling you like that the shooting mechanics of some of them are very, very distinct to that weapon, to the point where if you level up enough to where you're ready to replace that weapon because now it's not being that effective, you have to replace it, you sort of miss having that. It's not like in Destiny that if you like a weapon in particular, you can just like make it eat all weapons or whatever it is that you do to power them up, and you can have the same the same weapon and level and kind of level it up. On this one's, unfortunately, there's a disposable nature to them, to where a weapon that is really, really, really cool, at some point you gotta have to let it go let it go, because it's really not gonna be as effective. Like right now I have an awesome shotgun that I got for doing a particular mission where I accidentally chose the wrong thing to do. The wrong choice, because it was a very bad choice. It was either protect this guy or let this crazy cannibal person, you go after him. And I thought that the game was telling me, okay, well, protect this guy, go to this thing and do this and open the door. And that's what I did, and I just let the cannibal in and forget it. Next thing I know, the character that I was meaning to protect was in red, and the character that I wanted to kill was green. So you were not gonna do any damage, to him because he's your ally. And I'm like, well, shit. So, but I ended up giving me a really kick-ass shotgun that I've been using for the most part. And every time I hit some guy, the ragdolling on the bad guys when I hit them with the shotgun, it's amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys remember from Borderlands 2, some of the enemies like to leap towards you.
Yep.
And I just got them in midair with the shotgun, and I blow them out of the sky. Now they're leaping back. So I run after them. I slide, and as I stand them up, I hit them with the melee, and they get destroyed. And it makes you feel like such a badass. It's so fun. I also noticed the story, which a lot of reviews have said that is the weakest point of the game. I'm actually enjoying it. I don't think it's an amazing story. Obviously, it's a story filled with some cliches, although there are some surprising moments, and you kind of learn to really dislike the antagonists of this. I mean, they're not Handsome Jack. Mm-hmm. Handsome Jack was a very well written bad guy. These ones are, they're pale in comparison. I'll be the first one to admit. At least they don't make me laugh as much. But they made me want to go and like put the barrel of that shotgun on them motherfuckers. Let me tell you.
Wow. Okay.
They are something else. I'm not gonna spoil it. I do believe that if you guys have a chance to at least rent it and find out, you'll be pleasantly surprised, as I have been. I've actually been surprised with that. I can't wait to go back to it. That's another thing I wanted to mention on it was the vehicles. The game, believe it or not, has some really cool vehicles that you can mod in ways that you don't necessarily expect. Like you have a wheel. It's literally this wheel that you get in the middle of, and you ride it kind of like if it was a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. But you can customize it to where it, you can customize it to where it instead of being the wheel, it becomes a hover vehicle, like a hover vehicle, or you could be driving actually a tactical, like a pickup, all prepared and with guns and stuff, but give it hovercraft wheels to where the wheel it'll be normal, standard pickup wheels, but if you need to turn that to get a tight corner, or if you make a big jump and you want to land as smooth as possible, you just right there with the press of a button activate the hover wheels, and the wheels become this Back to the Future 2 wheel that when the wheels hide themselves inside the
fly,
door
yeah.
brand, you kind of hover.
Mhm.
It turns into that. So it has a lot of neat tricks like that taken apart, they might not seem like much, but it's a game where the sum of its parts is it's what's it's the value, basically, to the point where I'm already spent on the DLC because I know I'm gonna want to to play it because I love the DLC of Borderlands 2. Like I really really like, and the fact that the game has done so well means that they are properly supporting it. That game has been getting some patches on consoles and on PC, where the game just feels like a blessing to play on on PC. It feels so smooth. It feels that like the shooting, like that smooth shooting that you have in a game like Overwatch when playing on PC, Chaos.
Sure.
That level of smoothness of everything is very responsive on Overwatch on PC. That's how it feels. So yeah, man. And I kind of want to, at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm ready for next week, because next week or this week or whatever you want to call it, this Friday, fuck,
At some point
between today and next week, the Outer Worlds is coming. And,
Oh yeah.
how do you guys feel about that? I haven't heard the hype.
I mean, I'm going to cautiously wait for. Not that I don't trust Obsidian, but as awesome as I know New Vegas was, it was buggy as all get out. And we all know that.
Buggy.
So
yeah.
now, granted, that was on Bethesda's engine. So
I was gonna say, are they using
yeah, I
the
was
same
like,
engine?
it was Bethesda's game engine. That's how it was done, and I get it.
No, I'm talking about this one.
No. This is not. This is their own engine. So
easy, it'll have half of the bugs. Easy.
It'll have an amazing story, though.
Yeah, hopefully, exactly. Hopefully, it's in the control. It's not whatever. So I feel like I have my finger on the trigger right now, but I'm going to wait to pull. If it comes out with anything 8 and above, boom, it's there, and I'll be playing it by probably that weekend. So
that's cool. Yeah, I heard that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that I'm looking forward to the Outer Worlds, but I'm the same way. Like I can't, other than the remake of Final Fantasy VII, I can't bring myself to pre-order games anymore.
Yeah.
I hear you there. I haven't pre-ordered this. I tell you what has driven me to pre-order lately has been more when there is a monetary reason to do so, and I have to make sure that it is something that I'm gonna get anyway. Like for example, a Forza Horizon game. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna get that anyway. And granted, doesn't mean that a bad one could come out. But let's say if I'm saving $20 on it, that's a calculated risk that I'd be willing to take if it's a game that I know that I'm gonna want, something like, for example, Last of Us 2. I know I'm gonna want that, Final Fantasy 7, like you said, I know I'm gonna want that. So those are ones that I jump on it when I see that there is a monetary reason. Usually those pre-order bonuses, mostly on PC, you tend to see that on sites like Dreamland Gaming and stuff like that. But or if you pre-order in Amazon, sometimes it used to be all the time, but now they don't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's all I've been playing in reality. I did see something, but I'm not gonna elaborate on it because I know You also saw it, Mad Dog, and you're gonna you have a lot of things to say about that. But I watched El Camino.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Mr. Chaos
Wow,
Reaper,
how can I
what
follow
have
it
you-
up? Well, I will tell you that I cannot. I've been playing Apex and a little bit of Overwatch because of the Halloween events.
Okay.
Oh,
And I finished getting the skin that I wanted from the Mortal Kombat Combat League. So now it has 10 days left. I'm good. I got my skin. I just gotta fight here and there so I don't lose my rank. I'm a champion. I was thinking to see if I could push it up to at least master, but I don't know if I want to subject myself to that torture.
I can
Yeah.
imagine, sir. I can imagine.
The Halloween events, I'll go into details in the news. Movie wise, I I rewatched The Joker.
Yes, I saw
Oh.
that. How was it the second time around?
Oh, just Jesus Christ! It's just as amazing.
Oh.
I
You know-
tried really hard to see if I could pick up something different here and there. I'm trying to remember because I was talking about it today because I did pick something different from it, but I can't remember what it was right now. But it's really hard because like I really just want to buy it so I can run that movie frame by frame at home.
I kind of want to do the same. I'm not gonna lie. So
Because I feel like there's nothing done by mistake here. Like everything is put in on purpose. Now I'm gonna give a slight spoiler warning because this is one of the things that I was looking for this and I counted it. Slight spoiler warning here. When let me give it a second here. All right, now, you know when he kills those three dudes in the
yeah,
the subway
gunshots.
in he shot 8 times.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
a 6-shot weapon. And it's six, yeah, can hold 6 shots. So I don't think that was done by mistake. I think that's just trying to tell you that this is unreliable narrator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
You know,
I still think that is more the Hollywood movie being Hollywood. Like when you see shooting between people and you see them like emptying a little gun that has like 40 bullets. They don't stop shooting.
Yeah, but that
I see what you're
usually
saying.
it usually happens in action movies, and this is not an
True.
action movie.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's fair. Yeah.
You
you're
know,
right.
this is let me see, as far as I can remember, this is the only moment that they actually kill someone with well, other than the cop at later on, but this is the only moment where you see a gun being fired like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's done by mistake, man. I think he's just trying to tell you that this guy is just telling the story wrong, all sorts of wrong.
That's true. I can see that because another thing that I did not notice this. I actually saw this online, and to be fair, I will have to see it for myself to tell how reliable this is or not. But every time they will show a clock, it was always stuck on the same time.
Oh, I didn't
Exact
pay
time.
attention to that.
Interesting.
I did hear about it, but I wasn't looking for it. First off, I was so paying attention, like, let me wait for the subway scene because I gotta count this goddamn shots.
Yeah.
you had a mission.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So and again, I was looking for other things, but it's so easy to get lost in this story.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Me and my wife and a couple of friends, we watched it. We really enjoyed it. We had a great time.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think My Hero Academia season 4, the first episode came out on Hulu, so I watched that. It was really depressing because I won the whole thing already. And there is no dub; it's only subbed, which I usually don't have a problem with sub, but since I started watching it in dub, I just want to keep watching it in dub. Don't judge me.
No
Oh,
judgment at all.
no judgment,
judgment
yeah.
at all.
Listen. Just in the anime world, these people are the anime community.
Oh, I know
People
it.
are very
I know.
nitpicky about everything.
I know it. I know you're getting judged, but you're not getting judged by me.
And you just said it.
Thank you.
In the anime world, by anime
Yeah.
fans.
The anime community is
Yeah.
intense.
It's because they get judged a lot, so they feel they need to
So they
judge
have
back.
to judge back, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to what I've been doing. I'm going to start off right at the top.
I was gonna say if you said news, I was gonna yell at you.
Yeah.
No.
I've been dying to know what you have been doing this week.
So first off, I started playing. And I don't do this, guys. I know you know this, Dreamy. I finish games before I move on. This is just the thing I do. I have a certain pride in that because that's why I've completed so many games. But damn it, I got like 4 or 5 games going on right now. It's kind of like, what the hell? So but I was desperate to start this game because I was really, really looking forward to it. I started playing Blasphemous on the PlayStation 4.
Oh my God!
I got that.
Yes, and this game is really good. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It is challenging. The art style obviously has got that really good 16-bit art style to it. What it is you're playing as a character. It is very Catholic, extremely based in Catholicism and all about suffering, guys. It is just so.
Well, it is called Blasphemous.
It is. That is true. That is true.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did watch the trailer, and that's why. But I mean, it's
so good.
So the way it works, basically, it's a old school Metroidvania game. The map looks like the old school Metroids and all that, and you basically unlock things as you go, and as you get new abilities, it should allow you to proceed. Although maybe not new abilities, it's still more keys and stuff like that can open up going forward. You play this one character, and I'm not sure that's the only thing is when it comes to the story, I'm not entirely sure what the point is, other than of course as the fact that I'm playing the game. The point is to complete the game, right? To just beat what you have to go, and it is so freaking depressing. It's just like every character that you run into is like there are people who are crucified or hanging on some sort of stick being burnt, and the enemies that you also have ways of finishing enemies off. It doesn't always happen. It's just if there's a flash that happens. The character is called the Penitent One, which it always reminds me of this character from Angels and Demons. If you've ever watched the movie Angels and Demons, there's this one guy. Was it Angels and Demons? It was the first one. But anyway, the point is,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's based on a book series, but there's this one guy who constantly.
It's a Da Vinci Code shit, right?
Da Vinci Code, yeah, thank you. Yeah. I couldn't think of the first one. So it's based off the Da Vinci. It's like a story from there, and one character who constantly like scars himself on purpose.
Oh, that's the first one.
That's the first one, right? Okay, yeah. So that's what this reminds me of. You know what I mean? It's just this, but it's like the entire world is built on that. When you die, you leave this one thing. It's called guilt. You have to, you think of Bloodborne or Dark Souls. When you die, where you died, you left something. You want to go back and get it. In this case, you don't. It's not something that you need as far as money or souls or anything like that, or blood in this case, like Bloodborne. What it is
sin.
It's guilt. Yeah, it's sin. If you left guilt over there, you have to go get it, and you can leave multiple guilts all over the place. So if you die over there and then you don't go back there, you go to another area, that guilt's still there. And if you die in this new area, you have another set of guilt here. So you have 2, and what it does, there's this bar. So you have your energy bar, right? Your vitality, and then you have this one thing that allows for special moves. But the more guilt you've left around there, like barbed wire starts to, or thorns start to grow around the bar, and now you can't fill it up all the way, and it can get to the point where it's just completely blocked off. You can't use it at all. So you want to go out and get guilt, and of course, there's a ways around it. There's a huge statue. If you find one, you can pray at it, and your guilt has been absolved. You know what I mean? And then it's gone. But obviously, you're using money and stuff like that. But it is challenging. It's old school challenging, which I dig. But it may not be for everybody. If you're not into that old school, man, this is a game that's kicking my ass. For me, it's I feel like it's kicking my ass. To be fair, the first couple bosses, I may have died once, but then I was fine. It's like I was just getting a feel for them, and the second time I went, this one that I'm currently at, and I'm not going to say what it is, but this dude is just literally fucking me up. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's all good because this is the type of game it is, you know. But it is depressing. The world is depressing, and it's just like But it's also fascinating because they've really, stuck to that particular art style and that choice. So I can definitely recommend it as if you like Metroidvania, if you like tough games like that, definitely can recommend that game. It's really cool. My only nitpick on it is I feel the character moves a little too slow for me, and that could be just my own choice because I'm thinking of, even when I think back to Super Metroid, Samus, she fucking ran. When she ran, this one feels like it's just not, it's not like super slow, but it's just not moving as fast as I would like a character in a Metroidvania. And then I think of Dead Cells, and that fucking character was super light. You know what I mean? So you kind of get used to stuff like that, and you get to this one, it's like it feels like your character's dragging a bit, But other than that, some of the checkpoints can really challenge you a little bit as well. There's these altars very similar that you can pray to, and that becomes a checkpoint. And if you die, you start back from there again. But if you're in this area that you haven't been at, you're almost dead, and you have like vials that you can fill up with whatever to kind of heal yourself. Again, very similar to Dark Souls. But when you're on that last one or you don't have any more and you're in a new area and you've gone really far, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to do all this over again.
You just hate that feeling?
Yes, but it's such a great gaming feeling because it feels old school to me, because that's how old school. I think of Ninja Gaiden. I think of those old school side-scrolling tough games that you knew you had to get far enough so you could just, if you need to start over, you could just start over from there. So, but yeah, Blasphemous is pretty awesome. I'm playing that, and I'm playing this other game which is a shocker to me, and I'm gonna just describe it first. It is a game based specifically on stats. Stats that your character, you would want him to get better at, and as he gets better, he progresses better in the game, and very RPG like, even though it is the furthest thing from the RPG. I'm playing MLB The Show 2019.
What? Excuse me. Could you say that again slowly, sir? I seem to have misheard you. Did you say you're playing MLB The Show?
He's playing a sports game.
All right, I'm out.
Tell me more, because I am very interested in knowing.
Fair enough. First off, I obviously only got into this because it's free for PlayStation Plus. Yeah. And when they announced it, I was like, shit, this is the perfect time to get. Like, I've always been curious about it. Like, I've played football. I love football. I've played football. I played Madden and all that, and it is not the real thing. And there's just no way of reenacting the real thing, to me personally, I feel. So because of that, I was just like, I never really got into it. I still prefer the real thing. And then I was always curious about other sports. I've played hockey. I played hockey games, and I actually do like hockey games. Always pretty fun, especially the old, like Blade of Steel.
Blade of Steel, I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's such a good game.
Listen, the one in Nintendo 64 was the best one. I loved that hockey game. Only sports game I've played.
Was that a Gretzky one, or which one was that one?
I don't remember which one. You think I remember which one? Listen, dude, all I knew is that I could skate, shoot the puck, and fight other people.
So we're going to call it Hockey 64. That's what it was. So as I think about baseball, I don't really like baseball, and that's another reason why I was like, I'm not gonna buy a damn baseball game, no matter what, right? So here it comes. It's the most recent one, just came out earlier this year, MLB The Show 2019. Here it is, and it's free for PlayStation. I was like, fuck yeah, now I'll do it. I'm already paying for PlayStation Plus. And guys, I freaking love this game. I'm like, oh my god, this is so freaking good. So I went to the. It's called Road. First of all, there's so many game options. It's absolutely. It is for someone who doesn't know baseball a lot, and for someone who never really played a baseball game. This can be very daunting when you look at all the options and everything you got to do and how you figure it. There's so many different control schemes, but the game is smart. It starts and says, all right, we got to figure out how you like pitching. Here's the three options that we have as far as pitching goes. And
I know what RBI is. That's all I know.
I just found that out. I just found that out, guys. I didn't know what I was.
I actually asked someone at work what it meant.
And honestly, I'm so nervous to even say what it is because I'm still not 100% sure. You know, I'm not even. I don't want to even.
Runs bad.
Okay, runs bad in. Okay. So I was right. All right. So anyway, it gives you the you figure out the three different schemes of how you can pitch, three different scheme of how you can bat, of how you play this, so you get all this figured out, and you can literally, it's almost like a character creation thing, but it takes for me, it took me a good 40 minutes just to figure out the schemes that I felt comfortable with, and then you go to the main menu. You haven't started the fucking game yet. You're just getting to that point. So now I'm in the main menu, and now I go right to the one that's the it's not a season. It's like the road to the majors or something like that. Create my own character, and of course I name him. And let me tell you, one of the things that I love most about this game, okay, I shit you not, is whenever my character is at bat. First off, I went with a character and I made him first baseman, right? I chose so I'm gonna do first baseman. And that's it. That's the only character you control. You don't control anybody else in the field. If you're at bat, you control it at that point. When you're on base, you control it. You know that. And when you're obviously playing defense on the field, you're playing those roles. None of the other characters is completely computer generated. You just hope they don't fuck your game up, basically. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
And I'm starting. Oh, by the way, I created my characters. I went to the draft. I went to everything to try to prepare. I got drafted, but I got drafted into the AA minors, guys. So I am at the very bottom, working my way up.
Right at the bottom, and at some point you will get there.
Let's hope. The Altoona Curve, all right, is the team that I'm on. But anyway,
sure.
I love that when it's my time at bat, I hear the thing go, next at bat, Mad Dog Martin.
Hate you. Wait, it tells you? Oh my God, really? You know,
yes.
I've always, in WWE, you could pick nicknames that the announcer would say, and I've always seen Mad Dog.
I fucking love it, dude.
Never been a Reaper.
Yes, no. They don't got Reapers out there. I don't know, because this had an extensive list.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't go far. I was just, let me see if they have it. They usually do, right? And boom, it was there. And then of course my name, like my tie, like if you look at the name, it says Naldo, Mad Dog Martin. But the announcer, Mad Dog Martin's up, and he's batting over 300. And let me tell you, for the minors, I just keep talking. I was just like, I fucking love this.
Yeah, please, you were about to lose me completely right there.
Dude, and the funniest thing is I cannot sit and watch a baseball game. Like, there's just no way. It's like watching grass grow, guys. It's like the most boring thing. I know this. And in the game, the way it works is it automatic. You can get it so it just forwards to your next appearance, right? So you don't have to.
If you could just skip all the boring shit, right?
You can go through it, and I'm already into a month of my rookie season in the AA, right? And it's taken me a while, and I'm still forwarding through it. I even tried to just do the entire game. I'm going to play this and watch everything, even the four balls and the walks and everything. I'm just do it. I can't, bro. I can't do it.
Did you fall asleep?
I'm just like, Jesus, nothing is happening. My character is sitting in the bullpen watching people play. It's like, no, I can't do this. This is really horrible.
That's real baseball.
It is real baseball. Like, this is a little too sim for me.
And that's why we don't watch it.
Yeah. I like baseball. I'm not a super mega fan of knowing stats or stuff like that. But you give me a game with the Yankees or the Mets, and I'll watch it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I've actually gone 2 games, and I have enjoyed them. Why?
I have gone to games, and I can tell you one thing about going to game. Going to the game is different, right? Because you're watching, you cheer when you need to cheer. The rest of the time, you're yapping with the person with you, eating a hot dog, drinking beer. You know what I mean? It's like, but you do this at home, you realize this shit's boring. You know what I'm saying? But you're out of the game, you're like, yeah, you do the wave when the wave comes to you, all that good stuff, right? So,
by the way, I meant, I'm sorry to interrupt you, man, but I meant have you no shame for being a Mets fan.
Oh, well, yeah. It's always been New York for me, so what else is there going to be?
Wow, it could be the Yankees. I'm just saying, but okay, whatever.
No, I don't have. When
like there is
like I said, And I think I've said it clearly. When is the Yankees? It's the Yankees. When the Mets are playing, the Mets are playing. If the Yankees and the Mets are playing because they're doing one of those
series,
things, then of course it's gonna be the Yankees. We all know that. I didn't think it needed to be said.
No, yeah, I didn't.
Oh no, we're just picking on you.
No, my wife is a diehard Mets fan, so
so is my dad.
I have an aunt who's like bobbleheads. She has an office just full. Yeah. Of Mets. It's like wow. This is kind of embarrassing.
It's a sickness, right? So yeah. Anyway, my point is to say, guys, it's free. Give it a shot.
Not even going to tag it.
I did.
I honestly, I was like, you know what? I don't even know. And I honestly, here's the beauty of it. It happens so quick. I'm usually talking with my wife. I can actually have a conversation with her because all I'm doing is baseball. I'm just, you know what I mean? But it still feels cool because, man, when I get a hit, man, I am jetting for first. You know what I mean? I was like, gotta get there. You know what I mean? And dude, it's just there's something odd about I don't know. There's just something odd about the fact that I find this game fun. And I realize that it has to do with stats because I'm constantly working on my character. In between series, you go on stuff that you can do that can improve your character's stats. And suddenly I'm like, no, I got to work on my batting. No, I got to work on my footwork, and all this stuff. So you do stuff. And then on top of that, there is relationship building within the actual clubhouse, right? Because you got the more friendly you are with your teammates, the better relationship you have. The more you guys obviously work better as a team on the field. So, and there's actually dialogue options on the conversations and everything. And I'm just like, damn, this game had. And this, for the record, guys,
Paragon or Renegade on them.
This is one mode. One mode. I haven't even touched the one that you can actually just be the coach. You don't even have to play. You're just telling them.
Oh yeah. How exciting must that be?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm curious though.
There's always this football simulators, football coach simulators that they sell that I see, and they always sell. Like they sell very, very well. I mean, for the type of game it is. And I've always wondered, like, would this be something that Matt would be interested in if I say, "Hey, man, this is the NFL. I mean, you know this player, you know these people, you know these players. Would you be interested in playing something like that?" And no.
I don't know. So that's the thing. I've never actually, because again, in my head, I'm thinking Madden, and I never care for regular Madden. But that's because it was so unrealistic in the sense that I even put it up the difficulty, and if my running back is running for close to 200 yards per game, that's not real football. No freaking, you know what I mean? It does not work like that. So here, on the other hand, let me tell you, it's challenging. It's the sense that I can go through an entire game and I can maybe get one hit. And it's that one hit you're like, fuck, damn, if I would have just did. And then, of course, I'm also figuring out the rules. Like, for the longest time, I thought, like, this. Let's say I'm on second base and someone hits, right? So so as they hit, I'm running to third. But if they catch the ball and that person's out, I have to run back. I didn't know that. So I'm at third just standing there going, I'm fine. And then it goes, oh, he never made it back to second. He's out. I'm like, what? I didn't know I had to run back. You know what I mean? So stupid shit like that I'm just like, it's almost whatever think of the Globetrotters, whatever the Globetrotters ever played, the team they ever played, that's how I'm playing in this game. It's so bad. It is.
Completely lost.
Yeah, this is why I'm in the double A minors, guys.
This is how I feel when I watch football with you guys. This is my feeling. All right.
Exactly. Anyway.
Where's the line? Where's the yellow line?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'm not gonna stick more MLB the show. If it's there, like I said, it's free. Give it a shot. There's nothing to lose if you have PlayStation Plus. What's the worst that can happen? You create a character, you don't like it, you fucking delete the game, right? Real quick, I wanted to touch on some stuff that I watched. I did watch. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I did watch El Camino, which is a Breaking Bad film, and man, did I actually dig. I wasn't sure. I was a little bit like. I've always said I love Breaking Bad. It finished beautifully, and it just didn't need anything else. So I was concerned when they first announced it. I was like, what are they doing? Why are you doing this? You're fine. The show ended perfectly. What do we need? And I didn't realize that there was a question that got left unanswered. Spoilers for anybody who's never watched Breaking Bad, but the end leaves Jesse hanging. Like, you don't. He gets free from what's happening, but you don't know what happened. You don't know how he's going to get out. You know everything leading up to that, but you don't know what happens to him. You kind of just assume, I guess he's fine. He'll make it out. But this movie basically focuses on what occurs after that, and it's obviously not as easy as a lot of us thought it was. It was just like, he made it out of the situation, but where is he going to go? He doesn't have any money. He's been captive for God knows how long, literally kept as a almost as a pet, just so that he can make meth for these Nazi guys. So it was fascinating to see it. It felt like an episode. Like I'm watching this, I'm going, man, I haven't watched an episode in so long. I'm like, man, this really feels like Breaking Bad, and it should, because it's the creators of it. It's Vince Gilligan, same person who made it. So it's not he's obviously bringing exactly what made the show great. And it was great to see the old characters, Skinny Pete, Badger. I saw them, I was like, man, I can't even believe these guys are here. They look and feel the same. The only weird thing was, obviously the main character, Jesse, and there was this other one, I can't remember his name right now, but Todd, thank you. They've gotten a little chunky through the years.
A lot of chunky.
So to see them here, and you realize this literally takes place a day after, the season finale, you're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially that Todd guy.
Todd guy, definitely. Yeah. The Todd guy, most for sure, yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. His character was pretty fearsome, and I was like, man, this guy was crazy, man.
No way he looked like old William Shatner.
Exactly. Not that crazy, yeah. But no, I really enjoyed it. What'd you think, Dreamy?
Oh, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't think it was necessarily something that I needed to know. I'm not gonna be harsh and say, oh, this movie was not necessary, but in a sense, I mean, it's cool to know what happens. To Jesse, it kind of like demystifies what ended up, happening after the events of Breaking Bad. It actually answers what ended up happening to Walter White. Also, so it was cool to it was cool to see, to watch, and just like you said, it felt like watching a really long, episode of that. That said, not like a super exciting episode, more like a normal episode, one that you enjoyed, but like it didn't necessarily have anything super special or remember. Now, not the best episodes like Ozymandias.
Ozymandias, yeah. Yeah, but I can argue that Ozymandias was awesome and probably the best episode of TV, period.
Yes.
But it was only that because of everything that led to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, I wasn't expecting it. Like, it would have been unreal to expect something of that nature in just one movie, or it would have felt odd, to have. Because in my part, I always thought Jesse was a protagonist, but he was second only to Walter White, and the Walter White story was over, obviously, in Breaking Bad. So seeing what happens to this character, it felt like not like a spin-off, but like DLC. If I can, it could be good. It could be good DLC, but it's not the main quest.
Yeah. No, definitely. It was a loose end that, to be honest with you, I didn't think was a loose end. But when you see everything, there was like, okay, I guess this was a loose end that I wasn't curious, but I'm happy that was tied up.
To find out exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. definitely. So yeah, that's what that's the movie I watched. It was really good. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. Another thing I actually saw on Netflix, which is pretty crazy, is this. It's a show. It's a series, but it's limited. It's only one season. It's only 8 episodes. Not going to have any more. It's a limited series, so that's it. This is the full story. It's called Unbelievable, and it's based on a true story. And it is crazy as all get. I can't. It's one of those things where I just can't believe.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It's
Unbelievable. I cannot believe that this actually occurred. The unbelievable thing, there's a reason for that in the story, and basically, again, this is based on real life, so it's not really a spoiler here. But a young girl, not a minor, but she was basically raped in the middle of the night. Like, she woke up to find someone in her room. She was staying in her own place, and was raped repeatedly. She was tied up and everything, and then she, called the cops the next day, and the cops came in. They took statements and did everything, and they did the whole test and they run everything to the house and everything. Found no sign of forced entry, no hair, nothing, no fingerprints, nothing, right? And of course they take her in, and she's they examine her and everything, and nothing. There's no bruises or nothing at all. And it becomes this thing where the cops suddenly don't believe her and think that she's essentially lying. And what that unfortunately does, and of course it puts her into question. She's also someone who went through a foster care system, so she ends up, she already has problems with authority in the sense that she doesn't open up as easily. So they take her statement several times, and there's a couple discrepancies here and there. Well, wait a minute, was this before or after? It becomes this thing where just the cops don't fucking believe her. And the sad part is that it actually happened. And then, of course, it continues to happen for 3 years until the dude gets caught. During that time, her life fucking falls to shit, guys. It's just because, they find out she is raped and everybody's all whatever. And then she ends up having to say that she lied, so that she can get the cops off her back. But now she's had the help of everybody, and now they all think that she lied about this. Dude, it's absolutely insane. And the other part of the story is these cops 3 years later who are actually looking for the same person because he's that good. He's in the sense that he's so good at keeping evidence off of the scene that he just, it's just impossible to find him. It is an amazing story, even though it's kind of be obviously from the from the details that I'm giving here, a very sad story, but it's good in the end, in a sense, especially the final outcome. Again, I know it's weird to say it, but it is real life, and you can actually look up the story without having to fucking watch the show. But it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, and it's something you should watch because there's some elements in it that will just really blow your mind as to what's out there when it comes to this type of stuff. So anyway, it's called Unbelievable. It's on Netflix, and that, guys, is all I've been doing. And we're back, guys, and it is time to go into our useless news
that you can use.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And not abuse.
And no abuse.
No, we're abuse free in this environment. Well,
I don't
know
that.
Abuse
Yes.
free, but mostly. I guess.
Mostly.
No, we're not.
Because we are such maroons on this podcast, we completely forgot a major
oh God, yes.
last week, and so I'm gonna just start with that shit and
Sounds
just
good
pretend
to me.
we're not over a week late.
Please, just act
We're just
surprised.
Yeah, act surprised because you probably already know the details, but I feel the need to go through it. PlayStation 5 specs, the new PlayStation 5 controller, details have been released, possible PlayStation 5 games, and a bunch of details were released on October 9th. But that's okay. We're going to go through them now. Just want to kind of go through some of the updates. I'm going to start with the tech. And I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this. Mostly not on purpose. The CPU for the PlayStation 5 will be an AMD chip based on Ryzen, which is 8 cores.
Yep.
7nm Zen 2. I don't know.
7 millimeter.
Nanometers. I'm not gonna lie. You sounded like you knew what you were saying up until you got to the 8 cores. Yes, man, 8 cores.
8 cores, 7 nanometers. It just means that the chip is very efficient and it's probably not gonna get as hot as the chips right now.
Oh, okay. So GPU and ray tracing. The PlayStation 5 GPU will be custom AMD Navi GPU that supports ray tracing at a hardware level. And of course, you can look into that. Digital Foundry does have information on that if you're looking for it. Audio, the PlayStation 5 will have 3D audio that Mark Cerny believes will be dramatically different from PlayStation 4's audio. Mark Cerny is, of course, the scary genius behind the tech. He was behind the PlayStation 4 design as well. Storage,
I'm sorry, but Dream, you probably know more. Well, maybe Mad Dog knows about it. What does that mean about the 3D audio?
From the way I understand it, because I haven't seen a lot on it, is just like it sounds. The idea of, let's say, if there's a battle or something going on your right side, you might not necessarily need to have a dedicated 5.1 system to be able to tell.
Oh.
But it could also just be marketing speak, you know. Yeah.
Okay. All right. It sounded good for a moment.
I think a lot of this when I think of 3D audio, I think of directional audio, right? I mean, that's what I always thought. But games like when I think of Senua's Sacrifice, the fucking audio on that, is absolutely insane. If you have not played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, play it with a headset. It's freaky, to say the least. Moving on to storage, just as the new Xbox, PlayStation 5 will have an SSD, which is solid state drive for those who don't know. Sony says its version uses the new PCLE 4.0 connection. Sony gave the example of an 0.8 second loading time compared to 15 seconds when tested on Marvel's Spider-Man. So that's actually pretty impressive. So load times seem to be, they've actually mentioned this even before this was released, that was a major focus that they were looking for.
When they do it on Monster Hunter World, let me know.
Yeah, well, you never know. Resolution support. The PlayStation 5 will have up to 8K support, presumably including full 4K, I would assume, right? If you're going up to 8K, then 4K should be there as well.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be real, yeah.
Also, it will include a 4K Blu-ray player with PSI reading 100 gigabyte optical discs. Those are the major specs for the PlayStation 5. Before moving on, what do you guys think of those specs?
I think...
Go ahead. Excited.
I'm just excited. Give it to me already.
I'm just excited for the next generation, honestly.
They are, just to give you a comparison's sake, they are pretty much on par with the specs of Xbox Scarlet when you see it. And that is, it's kind of awesome, but it's kind of silly also at the same time in the sense of, well, how's this generation? What are these companies going to do to differentiate themselves one another now that their consoles are even closer lookalikes that they are, to the point that they're using pretty much the same processor, the same Navi Radeon architecture, graphic architecture, the same amount of RAM. Storage is based on SSD also. The resolution. I mean, if you look at someone posted this in the group, and there wasn't a lot of attention on it.
Surprising.
But I thought it was hilarious just to see. It was basically the specs were very close to, if not the same. especially because the processor and the graphics are being done by the same company. Like, if there was ever a moment to buy AMD chairs, and I actually have done it, it's now. Because because they're basically powering the next generation. It's funny how they don't pick the competitor, Nvidia, because Nvidia is very cemented into the PC world, and so is AMD to an extent. But I feel like AMD's bread and butter is on these consoles.
Yeah, but you know why though, right?
Why is that?
Because it's cheaper.
What do you mean? What's cheaper? Oh,
the AMD cards are cheaper than the Nvidia cards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I think Nvidia has been a very hard partner to negotiate with, to be honest with you, and Nvidia and AMD has been more open, and of course they have the experience. They've done the graphic chips for this current generation, and no, I wanted to say Nintendo, but I think Nintendo has a Tegra chip. At least Switch does, which is a Nvidia based. But what I'm trying to say is that in this generation, our consoles are closer to PCs than this current generation was, and closer to each other.
You're so right, because you're right. When I saw the specs, I was like, wow, why is this so the same?
Yeah, which is awesome, because it means development time on games will probably be shorter,
That's what I was going to get to, because you remember how they said before that they were collaborating into something together, even though they said that their gaming side wasn't supposed to, that they weren't collaborating at all, it was just for like something else. I mean, but what if it did though?
Yeah. Not to mention the possibility of hopefully now this has finally been put to pasture, the crossplay.
Crossplay? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crossplay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a thing, right?
I mean, if there's ever a moment, it should be it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's already a thing now. They've already opened
consoles. You're right. Yeah, I know. And actually, I'm going to mention that later on in one of the news. But the consoles being so close in comparison in performance, then it means that all the game, whichever game, when it's crossplay, is going to run the same.
It should, yeah.
So that could be something else that they're taking into consideration. I mean, that's just me spitballing, but it seems logical.
You're absolutely right, because now they have a common platform, to develop. And of course, that's not to say that it is exactly, you have a game you can easily port it from PlayStation 5 to Xbox, whatever it's called, but it should be a lot easier now.
Why, is it PlayStation 5?
No, I'm sorry, I meant Xbox. PlayStation 5 to, yeah, they're calling it Scarlet right now, Xbox Scarlet, whatever, that's the code name, whatever it is. Banana.
Anaconda.
The Xbox Banana. Oh yeah, the Anaconda.
Anaconda don't want none unless you got guns.
You know what?
How can we ever forget Anaconda?
Oh, so good.
You know what also is awesome about this? At least in my take, it'll be portability for PC titles. Hopefully, hopefully we'll get to see more and better port. There's not gonna be the differentiation. Oh, this is the console port. They just consoleized this PC version or anything like that. Hopefully not to the extent that we see it now. But it is exciting. It's exciting to see.
All right, we got some more details here. These are more, I guess we can call them softer features that will come in. PS5 will support backwards compatibility, which they've mentioned before. PS5 will not be digital only. It will, of course, still come with disc support. Some games, obviously, will come to both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 first. That's not really a surprise there. That's very typical of...
Surprising nobody.
Exactly. PlayStation 5 will have some form of cloud functionality. According to Cerny, we are cloud gaming... quote, we are cloud gaming pioneers. Our vision should become clear as we head towards the launch. This is a quote from Cerny in the Wired article.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. Curious to see what he means, but it is interesting, yeah.
Isn't that what they were working on, some cloud system together?
Wasn't it with Microsoft? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that again, that could be the very reason why the consoles are so similar.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because I believe they are using Azure, which is it is the platform. It is the cloud platform. It is Microsoft cloud platform, basically. And at that point, Microsoft is not gonna be like, well, you're Sony, you're a competitor, because that's a completely different business. And obviously, Microsoft will be elated and more than happy to share that technology because, of course, they get revenue out of it. And we all know Microsoft have the xCloud right now that that they are actually testing. I think this week it started for a few people. I don't know how that works. I haven't been following the Xbox things in a long time, but that is their, that is their cloud. What do you call it? Strategy.
Yeah, the strategy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 will, of course, support PlayStation VR, the current headset, even though there are leaks of a new headset coming out soon. But yes, it will. Yeah, exactly. PlayStation 5 obviously will be its name. Instead, that's not a placeholder name. Game installation will be more configurable due to the way the SSD works, allowing players to delete, for instance, just a single-player campaign while keeping the multiplayer, if, of course, the developers support that.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Game sizes should be smaller or at least better optimized. That's one of the benefits of going to an SSD only solution with PlayStation 5, with developers no longer needing to duplicate data, makes the standard 5400 RPM be read faster. PlayStation 5 home screen will be more dynamic, better showing off live elements such as currently available missions, or allow players to select their activity in real time. So as a player, you can just jump right into whatever you like without having to essentially wait. Moving on to the controller, the PlayStation 5 controller, possibly named DualShock 5, has not been confirmed, but why the hell would they not name it DualShock 5? So, yeah. Adaptive triggers. Now, this is where it's a little bit weird, but adaptive triggers offers level of resistance when playing a game. Two examples that were given: the tension of pulling a string for a bow before firing an arrow, or having a machine gun will feel different to a shotgun.
That's really cool.
That's interesting.
Improved haptic feedback or better rumble will offer astonishing effect, allowing you to feel the effects of different surfaces, whether it's resistance or bouncy sensation. USB Type-C is going to be supported. It will be heavier than the DualShock 4 with the inclusion of the haptics and a higher capacity battery. It will have a heftier feel to it, which actually I can appreciate because I feel sometimes that the PlayStation 4 controllers are a little bit light. I just kind of like holding something with some heft. And the though the DualShock 5 appearance has yet to be seen, the prototype seen by Wired, is unlabeled matte black doohickey that looks an awful lot like the PlayStation 4. And that, guys, is everything we know so far about the PlayStation 5 console. We do have some games confirmed. Nothing to be shocked here. Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 already being worked on for PlayStation 5.
Hey, you didn't tell us how you felt about it.
I honestly, I just want to get it. I mean, I think it looks. I think when you look at the controller, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like some of these features were already available on the Xbox controller, so it feels like maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say, it feels like it's just really catching up to what's already out there, which is good.
That sounds very Sony-esque.
Yeah, exactly. Everything else is really, again, also kind of aligning up, like Dreamy was mentioning earlier, kind of aligning up with what we already know about the Scarlet and the other plans. So it's good. Obviously, it's not going to be like the current, Xbox One X versus PlayStation 4 Pro. Clearly, spec-wise, one is higher than the other. Does that really matter when when the games are still just coming out looking the same anyway? Who knows? But yeah, I think it's good news. I'm just curious about this last year that we have and the games that are coming out and how many games are going to be affected, specifically on the vanilla. We'll call them vanilla consoles, right? The Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 regular. How many games in this next year will you notice a significant difference because you don't have a Pro, because you don't have an Xbox One, and now that we're moving into the next gen, and to see how those games run on the regular one. I'm curious to see. So I'm a little curious to see how that happens. So, who has the next piece, guys?
I can take it.
Do it.
So Fallout 76 won't get human NPCs until next year.
Wah, wah.
I'm sorry, but they are the news for Fallout 76 just keep piling up. Like, okay, but at this point, it's like, okay, whatever.
Who is playing this game? So
Yeah.
I have a question real quick before you continue, sir. I know that Zib, shout out to
play
Zib.
it. They haven't played it.
They haven't played. Okay. I was curious to see if anyone else. Okay, well, go ahead, sir. You were saying.
But I was thinking it was because none of us were playing it. It was only him and Death Runner, and I'm not sure that I don't know how much they got out of it, but they enjoyed it when they played it.
All right.
Yeah, it makes the question is like who's still playing this game right now, and if it's so hard, it needed some sort of special, No Man's Sky level update that made a bad game good. Would it, like what would have been the savior here? Now it got delayed for another year or next year. Maybe it's not a full year, but
it sounds very much like Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all like is they. I guess I will argue that they tend to release stuff unfinished.
So they'll delay it for a year and still be unfinished. How about
there
that?
you go. There you go. Fixed. Now that is Bethesda.
There you go. Got it.
So the next big Fallout update, Fallout 76 update, which will finally add NPCs to the Appalachian Wasteland. And by the way, I still want to point out that I called that shit on E3. That was one of my predictions, and I nailed it.
It was a very good prediction. I mean,
It was nailed it.
Yeah.
Has been delayed until early 2020. Okay, so it's early 2020. It's not a full year. Good. Fallout 76 Wastelanders update is set to address one of the biggest complaints from the community. Where are all the people? You mean where are the people that are playing the game?
Oh, snap.
So are these NPCs? I mean, hopefully they'll have like a cutscene where they come in, or you're just gonna have people popping out of the ground.
Yeah, probably. They should do a redo at a Final Fantasy 14, man.
Oh, that will be good.
Yeah. The game is set shortly after the nuclear apocalypse wiped out the population of West Virginia, plopping players down in a surprisingly beautiful landscape that was almost entirely devoid of human faces. I want to point out that surprisingly beautiful landscapes, that is the opinion of Kotaku.
It's kind of a stretch.
Does not represent the opinion of yours truly or GG in general. And the narrative was largely told through robotic NPCs and scores of leftover audio recordings, which makes Fallout 76 a rather lonely experience for the solo player. And then it says Wastelander will set humanity's return to Appalachia in the form of brand new NPCs, enemy factions like cannibals and Mothman cultists.
Oh my god!
A faction reputation system, companions, and an updated dialogue system. So in other words, they're gonna bring Fallout 4.
You know, I was gonna say like that's all of that sounds awfully like I don't know, like it should have been in the game already.
You know.
I don't know. Just putting that out there.
Hey, listen. After this year beta testing, we're happy to announce that Fallout 76 proper will finally be released early 2020. We apologize for this delay, but we know that it'll be worth the extra time.
And don't worry, we'll make fun of this on the next E3.
There you go. Yes, exactly. And yeah, that's it.
All right, so like I said before, I've been playing the Halloween event for Overwatch and Apex. I don't like the events on Apex, how they do them, because some of those challenges are, well, honestly, quite a goddamn challenge.
Earned the name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it varies because, for example, Zibby had no problem. One of the challenges you're gonna win a game as a legend and then as a shadow. I'll explain that in a moment.
Oh.
And I haven't been able to win a single game, whether it's a shadow or a legend. It's just
oh man.
Okay, so the way the event goes, the event is actually pretty cool. You queue up solo. You can't queue up with friends. And it's 35 people, I believe. I think I got the number right. And everybody starts off, right? Everybody lands. And you start looting. People start killing each other, whatever. And every time a legend dies, they respawn as a shadow.
Oh, kind of like a... Oh, interesting.
Yeah, kind of like a possessed version of the character. You can't pick up weapons. You have like 40 or 50 of health. And you have no shields. You can't pick up anything. You can't even open doors correctly. You have to break them because the only thing you can do is melee and auto run. That's it.
Damn. If you run like hell, I bet.
Yes, you're constantly running like a maniac, and the melee does 150 damage.
Holy shit! Wow.
I don't remember how is it that I calculated it, but I figured it out. It's 150 damage. Oh yeah, because I got killed and I saw the damage on screen. So 150 damage. So if a legend doesn't have a purple shield and at least a blue shield and full health, you're gonna down them in one hit. If they have just a basic white shield, you're dead in one hit. And it can get very intense. I saw a guy. I was a shadow. I saw a guy at a distance because every time a shadow dies, they mark it as a red skull. And this dude was just going ham because he was getting overwhelmed. So all you saw was just like red skulls popping up like crazy, and you could hear the shooting from afar. It sounded pretty intense. Suddenly, bam, the dude was dead. So you can imagine just this wave of shadows running towards this dude.
Damn, that sounds cool.
Man. It can be kind of frustrating when you're a shadow. Because, again, you have like 50 of health, so the legend will see you, shoot you twice, and you're dead.
Wow.
But it can be very satisfying once you get the jump on them and you slap them across the face. Because the best thing is, when you die as a shadow and you respawn, there's a mark that tells you where you died, so you can land roughly there. But you see the shadows marked on your HUD as red. So that you'll see them from a long distance.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you can literally pinpoint where they at against the black background because everything's like really dark. And it's the old map, which is really awesome. But also, it's all adorned as Halloween. It's night. There's candles everywhere. The creatures are like greenish and they spew fire. Those giant monsters in the middle.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's really, and the skins are pretty cool. Again, the loot boxes for the event are super expensive. It's $7 for one loot box.
Damn.
I mean, it does guarantee you like the really high stuff. But again, it's $7 and there's no discount. If you buy 10, it's $70.
Yeah, things like that. I mean, it is crazy, it's crazy expensive. We also have to remember it's completely free to play. So
right.
That's their monetization. It's Still expensive.
Still expensive. Like I still believe they should just tone it down a little bit. I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, $7 per loot box is kind of insane.
Yeah.
The Overwatch event, they didn't really. They added new skins and a couple of lines. They only added one voice line for Reaper. Fuck you, Blizzard. But some of the one line.
It must be a Hong Kong protester.
And all the line is. You know what's the line? Too edgy for you. That's it. That's the line.
Wow.
So, but they did add a couple of cool skins for Orisa. She has a demon one that looks something like out of Doom, and they added one for Lucio, which is kind of more on the simpler side because it's not one of the mythic ones. It's the legendary ones. It's the purple ones. But he's supposed to be like his hair is Medusa. It's like got the snakes on it.
Oh,
so
wow.
it looks pretty cool, but other than that, it's really just a recolor. There's I don't know. I didn't find a whole lot to be that interesting this year. They put the Junkenstein's event again, which was the very first Halloween event, so they didn't even come up with something new this year.
The Junkenstein. Wow.
Yeah.
That game's over a year old.
That game is 3 years old, isn't it?
Oh no! Sorry.
This is the third Halloween. If I remember
you're
correct.
right. You talk about Overwatch. For some reason, I was thinking Apex.
Oh
Still.
no, Overwatch.
No, yeah. Junkenstein. Hello, yeah.
But
I got you.
That's what I got for that part of the news.
All right.
I didn't read this from a memory word. This is straight out of my brain and my own experience.
There you go.
Nice.
It's quoting yourself.
Oh, nice. My next piece, guys, one of my most anticipated games of this year, The Outer Worlds, is coming out next week.
Yes.
And Obsidian has outlined a roadmap of how you can get yourself prepared for the big event. That includes details about a big day one patch across console retail copies and when exactly the game will unlock in each territory. According to the post on Obsidian's forum, a day one update will be a whopping 38 gigs on Xbox One and 18 gigs on PlayStation 4. That only goes, of course, for the retail disc editions, which I personally would not get if I'm getting the game anyway. Though, since digital purchases will have the patch included in the preload of the game anyway.
I'm a physical junkie.
I've switched over. I'm comfortable now with the digital purchases. Like, I'm good.
You know what? I'm actually transitioning because now I'm like, if it's an important game, I'll buy the physical disc. If it's not so important, fuck it.
Digital. Yep, yeah. There you go. The post also details the rolling global release times, and PC players get a slight head start on exploring the galaxy. You can check the schedule, of course, on Obsidian's website. The studio recently had to clarify that The Outer Worlds will run in 4K on both PlayStation Pro and Xbox One X, following reports that it would only have the Enhanced Edition on the Xbox. Interesting thing, it was pretty funny, but we're not going to get into it because obviously they cleared it up anyway. PC unlock times will be October 24th, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, and the 25th. Well, we're not going to go for that because that's British, I guess, Standard Time. Who cares about British? And then, of course,
our British listeners, hello.
Sorry, British listeners, but I don't know what your time zone is. Anyway, for console releases,
wow,
it will be, of course, midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific.
Wow. All right. Well, that is for The Outer Worlds. I know you're being excited about that game, and you can't wait. We got a lot of awesome games coming out. We got that one. We got the Hideo Kojima one, and then we have the one that yeah, that's trending. And then you have this next one that is super most anticipated. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, super excited! Yeah.
Oh, snap!
I can barely contain myself.
Not even a little.
I am. You guys, you are gonna eat your words when you see that game being a 9.
It could be a 9. It could be a 10. It could be the greatest game ever made. I am not giving them my damn money.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
I mean, it will have to be very good for me to buy it.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can tell you that it has gone gold, so they're on time. Well,
at least it'll get some gold.
The game is now gold. The game is now officially ready for launch, just ahead of its November 15 release date on Xbox One, PS4, and PC, of course. After
some time to beta taste it.
Well, yeah. Well, it is an EA game. No, come on. It's from the makers of Apex Legends. You like Apex Legends?
I do. I still play it. I still give them money.
You spent some money on it. That's right.
Well, I mean, the battle pass.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I'm gonna read it. This is in the sound of GameSpot. Sorry, I fucked them up all the time. GameSpot. So it's gonna sound like up my opinions, but they're not. This is their voice. It says, after getting a few hours of on hand with Fallen Order at a preview event, we are excited. The Star Wars game doesn't feel like a game changer, but Cal Kestis, that's not the name of the character? Cal Kestis, sure. Sounds like a very Star Warsy name.
Sounds like a Star Wars name, yeah.
Journey as a Jedi Padawan, Fallen Orders through thoughtful combat and Metroid Prime influences mesh together very well. And then there's a tweet that says, we're proud to announce that Jedi Fallen Order has gone gold, yada, 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 November 15 from Respawn. Our time with Fallen Order saw Cal travel to several planets, including Dathomir, which has major ties to the Clone Wars animated series. Characters Death Maul and Asajj Ventress. I don't know the latter. Fallen Order will actually allow you to attempt to explore the dangerous planet fairly early on in this campaign, but the native Seabrags, the Night Brothers, will prove to be overwhelming foes to those who haven't gotten the swing of the game's lightsaber combat. See what they did there? So yeah, and then it lists bonuses, and yeah, who cares about that? So
and you're super excited too, obviously.
So what? I think so. And I'm so no. Don't get me wrong. If that game ends up being good, I'm down for a good Star Wars game, and I have been for a really long time. I have been.
Hey, me too.
A good Star Wars game, and I believe at some point we all were when Battlefront 2 was originally announced, and it looked like it was gonna be the next coming of Star Wars.
Best Star Wars game ever.
Yeah, and then it ended up being what it ended up being. So hopefully, I mean, you wouldn't think EA will be that level of stupid as to repeat a Battlefront 2, would they? I guess we'll find out on the
I guess we'll find out.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll grab on the next piece. So it's come to my attention, and I'm reading this straight out of their blog, that Call of Duty Modern Warfare will not have loot boxes.
What? No.
Oh, what?
Obviously, you read that wrong. It's an Activision game.
Not just that. I'll get into the details of that in a moment. But
I get it.
They
won't have loot boxes, but they'll have surprise mechanics.
There you go. Put it right there. Ooh.
No. I'll get into it in a moment. But they're delivering all maps and modes at the same time for all platforms.
I don't believe it.
This is actually for the first time because, as you all know, every Call of Duty has exclusivity either with PlayStation, this generation, or Xbox, the previous generation. So they're doing away with all that. So no loot boxes, but they're just adding Fortnite. I mean, basically. They're doing the battle pass. They're taking the battle pass route.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were going to say, but the game costs $250.
I mean, this
So
is
they're
literally
going the guarantee money route.
This is literally beat by beat what Fortnite and Apex do. Like the battle pass, you have the premium one, but you get some free ones, so you're always leveling up. You know.
Some might say they already did Fortnite. It's called Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Oh.
Yeah, but they didn't have battle pass, right?
Didn't?
I see what you mean. No, they didn't have a battle pass. Anyways,
so innocent.
it's just I don't know now. Shit, I know they had loot boxes.
Yes, they did have loot boxes.
As
It's an Activision game.
So, but everything that you get apparently will be just purely aesthetics. Everything that affects game balance, you can just unlock it by playing the game. So that's, I mean, I just hope they do it by leveling up like before, because for whatever reason, I always enjoy that method. Like you level up, you unlock new weapons, you grab the weapon, you level up the weapons, and you get attachments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I like it. I highly doubt they're going to do that because the way they've been doing it is by challenges. So I don't know. Let's see. Again, this is a game that I'm waiting to be released before I get into it, and it's competing with Outer Worlds and Borderlands 3. So
Nice.
Damn.
If I had to choose one for you, sir, I hope you pick The Outer Worlds.
probably. I mean, it's gonna have it's even gonna have like an in-game store and everything. You in the same way as you do in Apex and Fortnite. If you buy the premium, the battle pass, you'll actually earn the COD points. You know, the premium currency. The same way that you earn V-Bucks or you will earn Apex coins. It's the same thing. It's literally
it's basically aping off of them. Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's better than the loot boxes. Yes. That it's I cannot agree with that more. It's definitely better than loot boxes.
Yeah. It's not shit, it's poop.
Okay.
But unlike Fortnite and Apex, this game is not free.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You charged me $6, and now you're going to charge me for a battle pass.
Lol.
So now we're back to shit.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the maps and the guns and everything are free. At least I'll give them that much. That it's just cosmetics that they're putting behind the battle pass. So at the very least, you gotta give them that much.
I'm not giving anything to breaking Activision.
I mean, well, actually, I forget this is Activision, but I mean that's something that shouldn't be given. That's something that should just be standard.
Yeah.
You know, that's to clear that up. It's not that they're earning any points. It's just you're just regaining some because they're in the negative.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, guys. My last major piece. Google Stadia's wireless controller will not be wireless at launch.
Excuse you?
So
not with.
I will elaborate for you guys here. You'll probably be plugging in Google's wireless Stadia controller when the cloud gaming services launch on November 19th. While it'll work wirelessly while playing the Stadia on Google Chromecast Ultra, you'll have to plug it in a USB-C cable to use it on computers or phones at launch, Google tells The Verge. When Google first showed off the controller in March, the company touted how you could seamlessly switch from gaming on your TV to a laptop or phone while using the exact controller without having to pair it to each device because it's already going to be connected to the Stadia servers over your own Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, a disclaimer was located on a post earlier, or rather in a Stadia explainer video, that wireless play will only be available on the Chromecast Ultra at launch, and a community manager on Reddit later confirmed that meant you need to break out a USB-C cable for all other devices. Oh, yeah. By the way, Bluetooth will also not be an option at launch as well. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's kind of a damper on a launch of a gaming thing. Because it's not a console, it's not a PC, it's a
challenger.
gaming option, right? A launch of a gaming option. So yeah, what do you think about that, gentlemen? Wireless controller that's not wireless just yet.
That sucks that it's not coming in on day one as he should have, because that the whole point of the system is that the selling point was, oh, you can start your game here, but you can move it here, but you can move it here. I mean, you can stream this, and that was awesome. But now it's not so much. I mean, the technology, don't get me wrong, it's still amazing, but having to put a cable to your phone so you can use a controller, that is what I would call more than an inconvenience. It's almost a hindrance, because I mean, it's a freaking cable. You know,
it's literally
we haven't. Yeah, exactly. We haven't had corded cables since the PS3 and 360 era. No, probably before that. Yeah.
PS3 was full Bluetooth already.
That's true. So yeah, that's kind of bullshit. At least they're not taking it away completely.
No, and it's to come later. I guess my only issue here is that, for people who paid for the Founders Pack, it's like you would assume you're buying into everything that was already promised.
Oh, let me tell you, people that are bought on the Founders Pack, me included, because I just remember I actually bought that thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did. I am genuinely curious.
Hey, listen, I don't blame you. I wanted to.
For what it is, and if it ends up working great, that's amazing. And it also, I like the fact that in the worst case scenario, I get a Chromecast, which I would have needed anyway, and a controller that I could probably plug somewhere. And I'm hoping, here's what I'm hoping. This is where it lives or dies to me, That controller cannot be shit. That controller cannot be the Ouya controller. If that controller ends up, and I'm gonna test it, and you better be assured that I'm gonna give you my hardcore, honest opinion. If it's shit, I will let you know. And if it's not, then of course
you better. We're not being sponsored, so fuck them.
No, exactly. And I'm gonna test this here, because that my curiosity was, I have actually played streaming games. They sort of work. They work fairly well, but what Google is touting sounds like a pipe dream. If they pull this off, then I'll be seriously concerned about. Well, not only they pull it off, if they pull it off and they market it well, then I will be seriously concerned for how the outlook will be of next generation titles and stuff like of next generation consoles, because then would you really need to spend $500 on a console, let alone $1,000 on a PC? You know what I mean? That will be the question at that point. If I could just buy a freaking Chromecast and suddenly I'm playing at 4K and it works and I have surround sound and somehow this magic really happens, then I don't need to rush for an Xbox or PS5 until they have a hefty library of the first party titles, which we know they're not gonna come to fucking Stadia,
Right.
Just like fucking Stadia exclusive might not come to consoles, So it could be that also. So we'll see. I will have to report when I get it.
Well, I honestly, for a company that's trying to establish itself in this console environment, it doesn't bode well for them. They need to make a strong entrance.
I think I said it when we were first talking about the Stadia, and I'm not trying to put it down. I'm still curious, but I also felt that this felt I don't want to say half-assed, but it felt like they want to come into the actual gaming side, but it almost looks like they don't want to put a full push to it. They're kind of dipping their toes, and now let's see what happens and see how we, you know what I mean.
To echo Dream, this cannot be another Ouya.
Oh yeah. Oh no, definitely.
It
Definitely.
cannot
Definitely. No. I agree.
I have the next one, I
Yeah, man.
believe. Yes. So this was this was a very peculiar one that that I found off of Kotaku, and it says this indie game has been 98% off for the last 5 years,
Mm.
and that's
No one's bought it.
that's about to end.
Oh.
Actually, it ended on Wednesday. This game is now this indie title costs now $100.
Oh,
What?
We're talking about, it says, I want to just read from Kotaku. It says, in today's crowded video game market, getting eyes on your products can be a challenge, especially if you develop and publish games independently and with a small team. In 2014, the now defunct Danish game studio Glitch Chap had a unique idea for their jousting deathmatch project, Lasa. Oh shit, I'm gonna mispronounce this, but it's Lasa Nites.
nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
You're not expecting us
LACA.
to correct. You're not expecting us to correct you,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Yeah.
We have
I'm
no
not
idea
gonna
what
take
you're
your word
saying.
for it.
It's Lasa Nitex, and then Nitex is KNITEZ. Anyway,
Oh wow.
they
Okay.
priced the game at $100 when it came out, but offer a deep 98% discount for the first 5 years. And that 5 years ended last Wednesday. Lasa, speaking of this, Lasa Nites originally launched on Ouya, the ill-fated crowdfunded console that has since been relegated to the dark annals of video game history. The dark annals.
It's right there
That
next to
too.
Virtual Boy.
Yes. The
Right
Ouya
next to the
tank.
game.
The Ouya tank. Glitchnet was looking for ways to make the games available elsewhere. They settled on the itch.io storefront, popular among self-publishing indie creators. But when it came time to settle on the price, they began to think about the value and the cost of video games, and they decided to create a pricing structure that will make a statement about that. And the quote says, the former Glitch developer June Van Hoof, he says, we like the idea of offering a game for a perma sale that was a ridiculous deal. The studio settled on $100, which with 98% discount, the game will be basically just $2 at that point. Let's do some simple math here. But again, only for the first 5 years. Van Hoof further described the decision as a satirical comment on the state of game pricing and sales that matched the project's aesthetic. And then he said, and honestly, we forgot about it.
Wow.
So yeah, and then it goes on and on, but it is actually very very interesting. It is actually very smart, I will say. Certainly,
Okay, hey, you sound far. Hey, we lost you.
I think we lost you, sir.
how about now?
Nope.
Nope.
Microphone check.
Oh,
Microphone
there you
check.
go. There you go. There you
Microphone
yeah.
check.
go.
Microphone
You
check.
found it. You found it.
Thank you. I fell in the black hole of the anals of the annals.
That's what you get for
of-
talking about
of
annals.
Ouya. No, but like I was saying, it was certainly an interesting, if not a clever way of like marketing your game. It's like, hey, if you want this game, buy it now because in 5 years it's gonna cost $100. And guess what? It now costs $100.
Hey, that brings me back to should we be able to trade our digital
Media.
titles?
Mhm.
Yeah, you imagine that? Suddenly now you're in possession of $100 games.
$100 game. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. That'd
Exactly,
be
yeah.
pretty cool.
First thing people say is
but-
like, "Well, it was only yeah, but you can't get it for that now, can you?"
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well
Yeah.
said.
All
Yeah.
right, sir. Did you have anything else, Mr. Cax?
No, nothing of
All right, I have just one
interest.
tiny piece. It's more of a interesting. Hey, can you believe this is happening? Superman will ditch his secret identity in December.
Oh snap!
Sir, Superman will
What?
reveal to the world that he is, in fact, the
Fontaine.
mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent.
I knew it.
I knew. I think we all knew this. I don't know why anybody else
Pretty-
didn't. This, unfortunately, is not a trick, not a twist, a joke, or an alternate universe. This will be the new status quo for Superman comic books going forward. And so, yeah. Guess what, guys?
Honestly,
Clark Kent is dead.
honestly, who cares though?
No, that's hard. Superman.
I mean, no,
could
no,
be
no, no.
cooler.
I mean, look at it for like, how will that change his life? Honestly,
Well, I mean, he become Iron Man.
Well, so
because every time I saw him in any comic, he was always with the Justice League or always Superman.
true.
So how does this change his life? I mean, okay, so he's gonna be Superman 24/7. Congratulations, you get to be yourself.
So what you're saying is this is nothing. We've been dealing with this already.
It's just, I don't know. It seems
I think
Gotta
he's
put-
ready for
see,
fame.
if
I think-
Batman would do it, that would be shocking.
No, Batman can't do it
Yeah, of
because
course
that
not,
that
but I'm
that'll
just
put too
saying.
many people. That will put too many people at risk.
But
Superman doesn't have to worry about that because Superman is fucking Superman.
You see, when
So-
Spider-Man did it, it had a much bigger impact. You know,
Listen,
but
Spider-Man hasn't done it.
Yeah, he did.
Superman hasn't done it, all right?
And the Civil War
Spider-Man.
comics.
Oh, he did there.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
Oh,
did.
but that's just an alternate universe.
Is
That's
that-
one of the Spider-Verse. That's not the real Spider-Man.
I'm pretty sure that's canon.
What is canon in the comic universe?
I don't know. It's honestly really
Yeah.
hard to tell.
That makes
most
this
of
up
the
all
time.
the time anyway.
Yeah.
That, gentlemen, is all I have. Mr. Santos, did you have anything else over there, sir?
No, sir. I'm bingo on news.
All right. The well has dried up, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with our hot topic.
Hot topic.
And we are back, guys, and it is time for our hot topic of the week.
Hot topic of the week.
Yes. This week's hot topic, guys, is the ESRB still effective, or are they simply useless?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it is, right? That's why you don't see it. When you look at the post, it's so long, the rest of it was underneath it, so you know. You couldn't do it all. So this was one of David Santos' joints, but he did share his source material, which was Angry Joe. He was able to reach out to the ESRB to get some clarifications on some things. If you want to elaborate, Mr. Santos, streaming.
So this came out originally of a report that they had a video on. First, a shorter one where they were talking about how they couldn't believe the fact that they received the information about how the ESRB, how they really rate games, that they don't really spend time, that they don't really play them, that they only spend like 2 or 3 minutes watching a video that's sent by the that is picked by the publisher, and more than that, the displeasure over the ratings that games with loot boxing and gambling mechanics, surprise mechanics have.
Surprise mechanics. Yes.
How they're being rated as E for everyone, as if this was completely okay, when they felt that they should have deserved more an M rated, because of course it's exposing children to gambling mechanics and spending money and yada yada.
Okay.
So that about that it was sort of a weird rant, that the first time. So they put it out there. They actually got a response from the ESRB, and what I liked, first of all, I was not in agreement with a lot of points raised by Angry Joe personally. You guys have seen the video, and I would love to have your takes on the situation in general. Doesn't necessarily have to be about the video, because the answer that they got from the ESRB, well, I could go about it real quick just to give you some idea. The ESRB. Hold on, guys. My computer.
Are you gonna read? Are you gonna read what they answered Angry Joe?
I was, but my computer's acting up. Hold on.
Because I watched the video. Well, you looked that up. I'm just gonna say what I thought. All right, so I did watch the video, and while you look the actual response that Angry Joe got, I'm gonna say that it was very corporate of them. The way that they speak and the examples that they use. I don't understand how they don't see it as gambling. And mind you, I didn't see loot boxes as gambling for a long time for certain reasons, but I understand how it can lead. It could very well lead to gambling, not to mention that everything is random in the loot boxes themselves. And what is it? An NBA 2K19, right? That was the main game that we're talking about.
Yeah.
They literally have slot machines in it. They literally have a wheel that you spin for prices, mind you, and people you can see like, oh, just a wheel on a screen, give me a price doesn't necessarily mean gambling, but there is a casino game called the Big Six Wheel, right? That every dealer hates because it's a horrible game to deal. That no matter what you bet, you always win something. Right. So for example, the minimum is $5, so you have to bet $5 at least, right? The layout is just a bunch of dollar signs.
Now is that in when you say $5? Are you talking about real money?
Yeah,
or
you have to bet you have to bet $5 minimum. So let's say they give you $5 in singles, like 5 white chips. You have to bet it in spots that have a monetary value to them, like $5, $20, $10, right? And then you spin the wheel, and if it lands on one of those spots, then you make that money. Obviously, the most common one is $1. So sure, you always win something, but it's not necessarily you're not gonna get all your money back, or you are gonna lose. At least at most $4.
Well, if you're getting less than the amount you're putting, that's the definition of losing.
right
there.
So when you go to loot boxes, then you never win anything. I mean, sure, you get something, but you don't get any value out of that. You never get any value out of that.
Well, I think the point that the Angry Joe was to make is, well, if it has something, if it has a slot machine, that's gambling.
That's simulated gambling.
That's simulated gambling.
Yeah, and his exact phrase was, "How can they call when you look at the slot machines and everything else that they show in the and they're not the only ones, but just using the NBA 2K, when you include those in your games, is that not simulated
gambling?
Right. Well, when you literally have a simulation of a slot machine.
What I was trying to connect here is how I went from thinking it wasn't gambling because you never really, you always get something, to actually be gambling because honestly, even at that point, I already knew about that game. So yeah, so I see it as gambling. I don't understand how they don't see it as gambling. How the ESRB literally having a slot machine in a video game is not simulated gambling.
Now the question is, should that be embrated then automatically, just the inclusion of having a slot machine?
Considering that I cannot let anybody that's 21 years old at my table or near the slot machines, they have to stick to the restaurants and poker if they're over 18, then yeah, it very much is simulated gambling. Well, it should be rated M. It should definitely be rated M.
My problem comes where and it's the part that the ESRB was trying to bring. The if you're not wagering real money, for example, how could that be called gambling? Yes, it should be called simulated gambling.
Correct.
But I don't think that simulated gambling should automatically deserve an M rating. Gambling, on the other hand, buying money and to spend on loot box mechanics, or surprise mechanics, whatever the hell they want to call it. That's different. Now you're putting, now you're using money, whether yours, your parents, or whatever. That is real gambling. A loot box, situation should be rated M for mature.
Okay, then all right. Do you
Something
remember? You remember the original Pokemon games?
Yes.
Did you know they actually had slot machines in them?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And so, some of the Pokemons you can only get it after playing this slot machines.
Right.
I mean, there were other ways around it. You could actually just buy all the coins, which I did.
Wait,
but
with money or just
no, with in-game currency. I had too much money in the game. I actually bought enough coins to buy the Porygon. That game was rated E for everyone.
Yeah, totally. And I personally, I'm okay with that.
But because
even if it was rated E for everyone, the fact that it had what looks to be a slot machine, would that not be simulated gambling?
At least teen, no? I mean, by the SRB, even at that time, anything that had gambling was teen.
Yeah. Yeah, but but I would say, yeah. Actually, I like that, Chaos. We're forgetting the T rating. Maybe E is pushing it. Yeah, maybe if it has simulated, gambling, it should not be completely rated E. But at least a T rating, I'll be completely fine with that, because it's not happening for real. They're not they're not putting real money. Yes, it is not what I would call a something that you will like your kids to emulate. But you got to remember, they're playing a video game already. They are shooting other players, and Fortnite.
So what do you also see in those things and when the descriptions is simulated violence?
Exactly.
So if you have simulated violence, then you should be able to say that, yes, unfortunately, Pokemon should be rated T for teen because it has simulated gambling.
Or take out
the gambling mechanic.
Which by the way, I'm pretty sure they eventually did. I don't think the latest few generations, the last few generations, didn't have them. I could be wrong, but as far as I played, I never found them. So I'm gonna guess they took them out. I never saw anything in any guides. So
there's always wasn't one of the Final Fantasies you can bet on the Chocobo races. I mean, there are games where
but that was teen though.
Was that?
Yeah, Final Fantasy at least 7 was teen.
Oh, true. That's what I'm saying. There's the thing is, there's a lot of games that, innocently enough, they might still put simulated wagering, on it, and it's fine. It's expected. It is a game. You're living a fantasy of it, as opposed to I have to get someone's credit card to try to push my luck to see if I can get the item that I want in this game. Any game that has in-game purchases that you can use towards anything that is randomized, that should be for mature, because I don't think teens, in the general sense, have the capacity to properly understand what those decisions, the value of money, first of all, the consequences of it. Like, most teams, and I'll say, I'm not putting everybody, I'm just saying, most teams in general, their source of income is comes directly from their parents, or the little things that they do here and there, of course, by themselves, mowing lawns or whatever, but they still don't understand the value of money. Like this, they think, okay, I want to save $100 because I need to get this digital thing, and that is detrimental. You know,
Yeah.
I
Now
So
the question for NBA 2K19, I want to confirm here, because does it have loot boxes or some sort of
that's what I was
surprise
trying to
mechanic?
remember. Oops. Sorry
I
about that.
I believe
Huh?
that I've looked for it. I believe the thing with with 2K, 11 or it was that you could buy your oh, I don't want to be wrong on this one because I don't want to accuse them of something that is not. So at some point,
All right, so
while
we'll
you
look it up right now.
we'll look it up.
NBA 2K,
Mm,
right? 19
the loot
loot boxes.
the loot boxes.
Let's take a
And,
look here. What does it say?
all right,
All right,
so
so
oh,
NBA
go ahead.
2K20. So this is actually the most recent one. Loot boxes are not gambling, so that would suggest that they have loot boxes, right?
Mm,
So we can definitely say that be that as it may, the from what we've seen from that video. I remember seeing that video for NBA 2K, and I was just like, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
yeah,
I couldn't believe the level of audacity, just
yeah.
like putting it right in front of everybody.
It's a
So
slot machine ass slot machine.
it is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. The rating right now for NBA 2K is E for everyone, right? So the question comes down to what do we go back to let's look at gambling as far as the real, I guess in this case, definition, right? So looking that up, it says to bet on an uncertain outcome, right?
Mm,
That's what the meaning of that is. And wager is, well, meaning is something such as a sum of money risks
mm,
on an uncertain event. So can we look at the act of purchasing a loot box for real money
mm.
and
Gambling.
not get exactly, and not actually knowing what it is you're going to get, regardless of what it is,
Mm.
regardless of the fact that you're going to get something, it's still uncertain what you're getting. Is that
Right,
gambling?
right.
Sounds like gambling to me.
I will put it there. Yes, and I know a lot of people are gonna bring up the thing of, well, you know, try 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 to compare it to buying cards, buying the pack of cards that you buy, at the store,
Hmm.
that with those
Hard
surprise
pack.
mechanics. Yeah, and the fact the digital nature of this makes it to me makes it a little different because you're really not gaining anything at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it does sound, the moment that you put real money in the part of the equation, the moment you put real money part of the equation, that now you're making this, that's what I would say. You're making this into, okay, this is real gambling, therefore it should be rated appropriately.
So
Uh,
here's another, I guess, an opposing thought. Do all of these games that include loot boxes, is there a way of obtaining these loot boxes without actually paying money? And if it is, then there's the fact that it's available for free
mm,
as opposed to having to pay money. In other words,
mhm,
there's no option but to pay, to pay money
mm.
for these loot boxes. Does that make it not gambling? Right? Because if
No,
All
that's,
right. Let me bring up an
I,
example then.
I,
Apex, right? Apex, you cannot get any more loot boxes after you hit level 100. That's it. You're done. The only way to get loot boxes is by buying the battle pass.
okay.
mm,
Other than that, you have to buy the loot box directly. What would you call that? You're not getting them for free, no matter how you look at it. Even if you're paying for a fraction of the price, you're not getting those loot boxes for free.
right, right.
But yeah, true.
But even if that was even if to me, if were able to get them for free, but you have the option of paying, the fact that the option for paying money is there to kind of like advance the option to pay is always going to be to advance the grind, and it's always going to be kind of predatory in nature towards those people that are more inclined to fall for it, and that's a fact that there are people that are addicted to that, to that kind of behavior. They have that impulsive behavior, and just the fact that it's there, to me, is still it still fits the definition, the spiritual definition of what gambling is. Because
I don't know. I guess at that point it depends on how you do it. For example, and I hate to bring them up, but Overwatch, right? Not only do you get a loot box every time you level up, you get one for every. You get 3 loot boxes every week from the arcade for getting 9 wins, and you have a chance of getting a random free loot box because of the commendation things that they have.
Yeah, but the fact that they do that doesn't take away from the fact that you still could spend money on it, and you might not do it. But if I have an addictive behavior, I might do it, and so it doesn't affect you, but it affects me.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So going back to the ESRB, why? I mean, I think I know, but I want to ask you guys because I just want to make it sound awesome this way. Why do you think the ESRB is so adamant in not calling it gambling?
I'm gonna take this here real quick. It's the same issue with R-rated movies versus PG-13 movies. It's the notion that a lower rating will have a broader audience, so it just equates to money.
True. I'm curious to think what do you guys think if a game did have or did mention gambling, what rating do you think it would get?
I have a different view on what Chaos mentioned. I don't think it's so much yes, the broadening of audiences on a movie cases, they're always trying to strive for that. They're always trying to go towards that PG-13, and I get that. I think in games it's not as black and white. I feel like for the most part, developers already develop a game for the rating that they want. For the most part. I'm not saying that's always the case, but more often than not, a developer knows, okay, we are developing an M-rated title, and or a T, title, and because they already know, they already have an expectation of how much that M-rated title could bring them. Call of Duty could be an example. Activision already knows that regardless of the blood and the realism, the violence, the tones, the cursing, and all that kind of stuff, that game still sells gangbusters. So they don't have to play that general audience, game that movie plays. So I feel like in my case,
I feel like it actually would. But go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think that the main reason why I'm not saying they're not doing anything about it, because they are, and actually, I forgot to mention, I found the response where they say the things that they have, that they have been doing, but we might not agree with a lot of them. But the fact that they try to obfuscate loot boxing and gambling mechanics is because when you think about it, who is the ESRB comprised of? Members of the ESA, of the Electronic Software Association. And who is the ESA member comprised of? Well, the major head honchos of the gaming companies that right now are taking advantage of loot boxes and gambling mechanics and all that. So that is what I think is the reason why they're not really pushing uh, the gambling mechanic portion of it. Yes, they are doing a job of educate. You can only do so much to educate the parents. If the parents don't want to listen because they are oblivious, then then at some point it's the parents' responsibility to check that out, because the message is out there in several different ways. There's there's a website, there's on places where you buy games, the information is right there, and I've seen it. You can get a pamphlet, you can look. I mean, parents are used to movie ratings. Why will game ratings be any different?
Well, because in-game transactions doesn't always mean it's simulated gambling.
True.
So here's where I was trying to go with that. So I was asking, and if you want to just throw it in there to let me know what you guys feel. But I was asking to find out if they were to label a loot box as gambling, what rating do you think it would end up being under?
It would have to be at least teen, at the very least.
Loot boxes. Well, they can't put the term loot boxes because parents are not going to understand what the hell that is.
I know that. What I'm saying is, if they were to label it, let's say a game has loot boxes, and they were the game comes with loot boxes, and we're able
you buy with real money.
Force them. Yes.
Okay. Then
we're able to force them to say, "Hey, this is actually considered gambling." What rating do you think
that should be an M? That should not be a teen. That should be an M, because if we are if we are safeguarding our kids, quote unquote, from the from the violence and the sexual content in some of this, the games and the gore and yada yada, then why not shelter them from a possible way towards addiction?
Well, here's the reason why I think they are desperately trying to say it's not gambling. And that is because, according to the ESRB's own rating system, if there is gambling in the game, it has to be rated AO. Off the top of your heads, how many AO games are there?
Probably in the pile of Steam.
Probably like 20.
Exactly.
They're all in Steam.
This is why I was saying that. Not maybe I agree, not to the extent of the movie company, but that verbiage for gambling is nowhere on the other ratings, but it is on AO. So that's why they're saying, no, we cannot let this be gambling, because now we can never include this in any of these games that we need to get to as many people as possible.
Well, the problem is that the language, because gambling is immediately going to throw people as, okay, this is a casino, even though some of these games, that's what they are.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they don't want that rating whatsoever. They want to avoid that rating completely. The AO rating is just the overall AO rating is content suitable for adults 18 older or up. May include prolonged scenes of intense violence, graphic sexual content, and or gambling with real currency.
Hilarious, because that could fit Mortal Kombat perfectly, with the intense violence.
Can it? You really think about that for a second. And then what does Mortal Kombat also have?
The loot box. The
surprise mechanics, we'll call it. We'll just call it surprise mechanics.
Mortal Kombat doesn't have loot boxes.
It doesn't have loot box? Oh, excuse me, surprise mechanics?
No, it doesn't have surprise mechanics.
Then what is it that you go buy? What is the currency that you can buy? There's a currency you can buy with real money.
Yeah, and you buy, they list on their store a set of random skins, brutalities or whatever.
I'm sorry, what was that word? Random?
Yeah.
So
okay, the list
most recent one?
The list is random.
Okay.
But you buy the skin that you want or the item that you want directly.
Gotcha. I think that's the differentiator. If you want something and you can get it directly, that's in-game purchases.
That's in-game transaction, and I agree.
Transaction, yeah. The moment that you have to guess, that you have to throw money to turn a wheel, and you put in real money, That to me is it's gambling. And
Yeah, the moment you have to wager, the moment you have to put in a wager, and you're uncertain what the results are going to be after you get that's the clear definition of gambling.
Yeah.
And yeah, so so I agree that yes, it's all very political in the sense that the ESA wants and the ESRB, the ESA is, like you said, held up by a lot or comprised of a lot of members of the development community and publishing community, right? So clearly they don't want to fuck up their own chances of making some sort of revenue. So they, I'm sure, have specific guidelines for the ESRB to say, okay, this is what we needed to say, and this is unfortunately what happens when we wanted this, right? We said, well, we don't want the government involved with gaming. We don't want them coming in here and rating stuff or making stuff impossible to get. So we got the the community itself, the gaming community itself, put together the ESRB in hopes that will be enough. But in the end, yes, it was enough to get them off the backs, get the backs of the government off their backs, but here we are. They're still obviously doing their own thing, and I think maybe yes, the ESRB, because again we said it. How I will never forget, guys. I will never forget. I haven't been to GameStop in a long time, but I did a while back. I went to GameStop to pick up something for Nick, and I want to say it was one of the GTAs. Was basically, I can't remember exactly which GTA it was, but anyway, the point is it was maybe like a 14-year-old kid buying it, but he was there with his father, right? And the woman behind the counter just gave the best list of stuff that's in this game. She basically gave more information in the game than the ESRB will ever do. Yeah. And she said it includes violence, it includes prostitution, and you can do this, your character can do this, and blah 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 blah. Went into this entire list to the point where I was there embarrassed. You know what I mean? Or I was embarrassed for the guy. I was just like, what the hell? And what ended up happening is the guy said, he sees that stuff all the time on TV. What's the difference is going to make?
Hey, that's as a parent, that's his prerogative.
No, hey, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You're right. You're absolutely right. But think of the difference between the two. Think of the difference between the two. He was informed, yeah. But do you think he saw the side of the box? Do you think that little rating that come on the box was something that he originally looked at and said, he's fine?
Yeah.
No. If someone yelling at his face with everything that's in this game did not deter him to get it, then what is the point of the ESRB again?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's true. Which begs the question then, going back to the original question of the whole topic, is the ESRB, if effective still? Is the rating effective still? When you think about, for example, we have a rating that had pretty much put along as if it was the XXX rating, when you compare it to the movie industry, and that is AO, adults only. Wait a minute, there's a fuck ton of adults playing video games right now. What is this scare of not, of not being able to sell the games? Granted, yes, for the most part, and I guess this is to a fault, the fact that almost no games are AO, even the ones even ones that should totally be like fucking House Party, whatever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Oh my god.
Or no, but even more general thing, like I'm sorry, but you got things like
Mortal Kombat.
Well, I was gonna say The Witcher, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
The Witcher has some
pretty intense.
Yeah, it has the violence.
What about God of War?
It has sex scenes. Yeah, what about the God of Wars? Like if you're okay with that being M for mature, then M for mature should be like the highest rating, and AO is useless. It serves no purpose.
How far must you push the violence for it to be considered extreme in a video game?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And I believe there was a game that was trying just that, and it still got a mature rating. Like, what is the point of the AO then? Like, what is it? And why is it so difficult to avoid?
I think that why the AO is. I think this is the reason why you don't want to have AO in your game.
Nipples.
Because the majority. Think of the gaming community. I have two mindsets when I think of the gaming community. Right. When I think of the overall gaming community, I think of the millions of PlayStation 4 owners, the millions of Xbox One owners, the millions of Switch owners, the people who play mobile games. This is the overall, gaming community. But when I think of the in-depth, the ones who are, listening and all over every piece of news and detail and everything, the ones who tune into E3, that is a fraction of that overall thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So when we look at the AO, it's, oh my God, I forgot my point. I was going somewhere, I forgot my point here.
I was right there, riding with you. I was shotgun with you. But then what? Then I have to ask. Then why do we have a AO rating for? Yes.
Oh, okay. I found my point. My point was to say that the overall gaming community, and then everybody outside of that, which is a much bigger world, still views gaming for kids, right? Or for young people, for whatever reason. Exactly. That's what I was trying to get.
Well, here's a reason.
They just view it. So because of that, the AO rating is this like taboo thing that we can't put an AO rating on a video game.
Yeah.
How is it's like almost an oxymoron to say that a video game can be rated AO. You know what I mean? Because they just cannot. They cannot be that way. So
yeah.
I think that's the reason why it's there, because I guess they need to fill that void. But no, that's the reason why it's not used.
Well,
I'm positive there's.
I've been. Go ahead.
I want to comment something, especially on the story that Mad Dog said earlier about the parent. You cannot account for an individual's way of being, and like you can't, just because he didn't read it doesn't mean that it's not useless. That rating needs to be there, because if at any given moment anybody complains like, "Oh, this is in your video game," well, if you look at the rating, it says that it's there. So,
but then why? But if we are playing the system, so to speak, because we don't want to give anything an NC-17 rating, or in the gaming industry an AO rating, then what is it that is really doing? Because right now it is allowing some stuff that could be considered not healthy for teens to be dealing with.
Okay, so it needs to be updated. True, but it doesn't make it obsolete.
No, I see what you're saying. It still does need to be there. Yeah. You're right. It does still need to be there. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not advocating to take it out.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree it is extremely ineffective. For what it's supposed to be doing. And when you have the powers that be controlling the message that goes out there, then it even makes it less effective, right? Because you're saying, that it's obvious you're desperate not to call something gambling. You're desperate not to call it gambling because if it's gambling, guess what? We have to label this game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and that's the powers behind that going, guys, we need to do everything in our power to make loot boxes and all this, whatever we're trying to do, not gambling. Hence the reason the phrase surprise mechanic even was designed, it was even born, was even coined. It was coined because we need to have a name for it.
It's a desperation. It's a desperation move, at that point. Yeah. I still think that they should that they we got us in general, the industry got itself into the mentality of, well, games are for kids. I believe how do I say this?
It's getting better. I would
say
it's
getting better.
better.
Yeah, but we can't have it we can't have it both ways. If it's a mature industry, then we should be mature enough to deal and to know how to separate the type of games that have content that you wouldn't really let a 16-year-old have access to, because of like that same, like at 16-year-old, even with their with their not intelligent, but the maturity level or whatever, they still don't allow them to watch R-rated movies. They at least they can't go by themselves. They can't go by themselves. What I'm trying to say. So the same way. Hey,
they have to be
maybe
by an adult.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe, Grant, you already messed up the name, the AO rating per se. You already stigmatized it way too much. So in this case, and I'm not saying
something different.
Yeah, exactly. Make something have a we'll have a different rating system. You know what I mean? It's like games obviously have changed enough, and there are a lot of subject matters. The use of drugs, for example, and the excessive violence, like we were talking about, gore, all that kind of stuff that could let itself to be categorized differently that we used to. So
they can definitely use some updates, most definitely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts on the ESRB? Do you think anything's going to change, at least in the foreseeable future?
I want to clarify that there are things that they are doing, and I will encourage anybody to go read that or go watch that Angry Joe video. I personally don't agree with a lot of his points, but I see where he's coming from, and there's a lot of clarification that the ESRB. I don't gonna read it because it's kind of long.
Yeah.
But it is good that it's that, because it's very very detailed. It goes into detail of what is the actual process to dispel any myth. So if anybody is interested on knowing that, and just have an open mind about this.
Absolutely, and credit to the ESRB for being opening up a line of conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of an awesome, real episode 182 of GG's Mouthful Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. As I mentioned earlier in the show, please go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. And also, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off for this week, Mr. Chaos Reaper.
I will see you all next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to do this. Again, this was an amazing episode. I just hope we can, keep doing this week after week.
Yes. Don't worry. That's the plan.
There we go.
That's the plan.
Hell yeah.
If we can reach 200, I'm happy.
Hey, I want to call it right now. When we reach 200, I want to propose a live stream.
Yes, I like it.
We did something similar with 100, I think.
Yeah,
we did.
I want to do it again.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Dream Twister, take us home.
I just want to give a big shout out and a big congratulations to one of our founders, Chakra. Actually, he is becoming a daddy.
Got a third player on the way.
He is, yeah. He has, yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Game over, pal. You thought it was fun when I gamed over when I got married. You guys are about to have a kid now. You might as well sell me your computer. No, definitely.
Wow.
I could not be, happier for Chakra and Miss Chakra. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We haven't seen Chakra in a while, actually, and I feel kind of bad about it because I miss that guy. But Chakra and Lady Chakra, congratulations. That's super great news that you guys are about to have a new member of the GG family. A GG baby.
GG baby.
There you go.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
GG.